What's up, guys? Fish Keeper is here, and today I wanted to talk about a subject that I hear thrown around a lot. And I hear people saying this to newbies or people who are setting up tanks for the first time, and they don't kind of follow through on the information when they give out this option, right? And what I mean by that is I want to talk about the idea of using an old filter, right? Like a seasoned filter that's already been established and cycled on a brand new tank and how it's just thrown around all the time. That idea, I guess. I think it's a really good way to do it, but also you have to let the person know that there's a few other things they have to keep in mind when they do cycling like this. Now, it is, I think, the best way to cycle a tank besides fishless cycle, but it is way quicker though. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people will suggest you doing a filter that's been seasoned on a new tank, because they're like, hey, you'll be able to get it running fast. But a lot of times what I hear is you'll have an instant cycle. It'll instantly be cycled, and I think that's false. I think that's a horrible way to let a new person know how to do something. But you can't just say, hey, just throw an old filter on there and you're good to go. You are kind of good to go, but there's a few things you have to keep in mind, and that's what I want to talk about today. So first, I wanted to say how I got mine done. This tank was brand new, and I added an already established filter, already cycled filter that has been running for honestly over a year, or I think about a year. I think the last time I checked, it was about 8 months old, with the same media and everything. So it's well seasoned. And the reason why I wanted to share this is because this filter right here, it's a tiny filter, perfectly suited for this 3-gallon tank. It has been running for 8 months, and even it didn't keep me away from 0 nitrates and 0 nitrites and 0 ammonia at the beginning of the cycling of this tank. Now, it did fast forward the cycling, right? It made it so fast, but I still ran into some dangers. And I want to tell anybody who's listening, like, if you do this, you should still keep an eye on the dangers that you might reach, which is the spikes of ammonia and nitrites, because you will get that regardless. Now, if you're using inert substrates like just gravel or rainbow gravel and stuff like that, you might not get as big of a nitrite and ammonia spike at the beginning. But a lot of us, will try a Planet tank, and we might have Flue Ball Stratum or UNS Contra soil. Amazonia is a big one, and that one for sure is going to give you a lot of nutrients at the beginning. And so we're still going to run into problems with nitrites and nitrates. And the idea that you have an instant cycle, which I hear that a lot on Facebook groups and stuff like that, people just say, throw on an old filter that's been running for a long time and you'll have an instant cycle. Yes and no. You will have better odds at cycling your tank fast, but just based on my experience with this tank, I actually had nitrites and nitrates and ammonia for the first 3 days in my tank. Now, none of my shrimp died. It was all shrimp. I had about 20 shrimp in here. My tank it basically had 0 water in it. I filled it up with water. Filled it up with Flue Ball, some gravel, water, plants, and then within the same hour, I put in all my shrimp. It's never a good suggestion to do, but I had to do it. It was a weird situation where I had to get it all done quick. If you do this and you just walk away and you go back to your 9 to 5 job, and next thing you know, Friday they're all dead. That's probably what would happen. So you have to, as a person who's setting up a new tank in this method, still keep in mind that this is not the safety net you're looking for. This is just a really good safety net. So you still have to do a little bit of work. So at the first day, 24 hours into the new tank with the old filter, I had little to no ammonia or nitrites. After that though, the second day I had nitrites and ammonia, at which point I had to decide what to do. And I decided to do big water changes. For this tank, it was just about a third of the water change. I did it 3 times in the first day, I guess the second day. On the third day, I did it 3 more times a day. And then on the fourth day, I did 2 times only. And on the 5th day, I saw no nitrites anymore. So those few days, my tank was, riddled with nitrites and ammonia. If I had, like I said, if I, set up my tank and went to work and, didn't worry about it again, by the 5th day, my shrimp probably would have all been dead. Also exclude the guppy you see there. That guppy was just added like yesterday, and the tank has been cycled for a week already, or a little over a week now. So that doesn't, that's something completely different. So so I just wanted to share my experience with using an old filter with a brand new tank. You still kind of have to watch your parameters. You don't want to lose your fish or your shrimp. Definitely not the best way to do this. It's still one of the better ways though, but definitely if you can, you can probably have your tank set up and cycled in the first 4 to 5 days with an old filter. I've never seen it do it earlier than that. Maybe, but it could also be that I use substrate for Planet tanks. So there's a few things you have to keep in mind. Also, if you had to do this and then dump in 5 guppies or 5 mollies, well, that's a big difference. If you're doing this with the 100-gallon tank, that's a huge difference too. All I just wanted to say is, just because you're adding an old seasoned filter, even though it's almost a year old and it's been running great, you still are going to have to keep an eye on your nitrites, your ammonia, and even your nitrates, I guess. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you guys. Please, if you want to not lose some livestock, using an old aquarium filter on a brand new tank is a great idea, but it is not 100% proof. You still have to, check parameters, and hopefully you can mitigate it by doing water changes and just kind of working with that. I use Prime as well. I forgot to mention that I was using Prime after every after every water change, I did Prime. I also use RO water, so my RO water gets the TDS down to like 5, and I can't get that last 5 for some reason. So I know what's going in my water. It's nothing. With neocaradinas, you probably shouldn't be doing RO water, but I add salty shrimps like the GH and the KH, and I add some crushed coral as well for the future. So I know how to deal with my RO water. But with your sink water, you have to kind of keep in mind, if you're using sink water, you're adding a whole other level to this. So you're gonna have to be using a lot of Prime, dechlorinating and stuff. So there's a few things you got to keep in mind. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, be careful with the false advertisement of just put an old filter on the new tank and you'll be good. I don't think there's such thing as instant cycle. You got to be a little careful. And I think just introducing new water to an already established filter might do something there. But like I said, after like the 5th day, my filter was doing great. And now I think we're on the 8th day or something like that. And the filter's fine. I've been checking the water every day. I have 0 everything except for nitrates. Nitrates are doing great because you can see my plants are nice and red. They're growing. But yeah, that's all I got for now, guys. Like and subscribe if you can. Hit the notification bell if you can. Drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think. Have you done this before? Have you seeded a tank with an old filter? Let me know. All right, have a good one.